What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. I am the House Hacking Mom, and in today's video I'm going to share with you 5 tips to help you and your family cook at home more, to save money, be healthier, and just to have more quality time with your family and your loved ones. So if you're interested in any of those things, keep on watching. Real quick, I thought it would be fun to share with you guys the tea that I'm going to be drinking in this video. This is an Energizer Earl Grey that I got for Christmas. So if you guys are tea drinkers, please pour yourself a cup of tea and let's move on with the video. All right, so my very first tip is to ask yourself the question, what is it that I just can't stand about cooking at home? What is that big barrier between my idea of the whole family sitting around the dinner table, eating a meal, having a great conversation, eating healthy food, and actually doing it? Why is it so great in theory, but it's very difficult in practice? And I would encourage you to really think about it. You know, is it the grocery shopping that you find so challenging? Is it the meal planning? You know, I just can't come up with good ideas for meals. Is it my kitchen? Is the kitchen always dirty? Are there always dishes in the sink? Is the dishwasher never emptied? You know, what is the breakdown in your system that is making cooking at home such a challenge for you? And once you figure out what that one thing or several things might be, make a specific plan of the steps you're going to take to fix those things. So if it's your kitchen, my kitchen is always dirty, there's always dishes in the sink, commit to yourself and have your family commit as well that you will never go to bed with dishes in the sink. In the morning after you have your oatmeal, never ever put your bowl in the sink. Go ahead, rinse it out real quick and just put it in the dishwasher. It takes 2 more seconds than just laying it in the sink, and that way you don't have to mess with that bowl twice. You just mess with it once and it actually saves you time long term. If it's the grocery shopping, what's so challenging about grocery shopping? Well, you have to make a list, and to make a list you have to know what you need in the first place, which means you have to meal plan. So just figure out how you can do those things in order. I find it helpful to grocery shop only once a week and to do a thorough meal plan and grocery shopping list before I leave. I try to always shop on Wednesdays. It doesn't always happen every single time, if I'm honest, but I try to always shop on Wednesdays so that we kind of run out of food or fresh fruits and vegetables usually around the same time every week, and that does help. So again, number 1 tip, figure out what it is that you just can't stand about cooking at home. Figure out what that is, and then write down some steps that you can take to help minimize those barriers. My second tip is to have a small arsenal of recipes that come together very quickly, are stress-free. You can make them pretty much without a recipe, and that you usually make one of these recipes once to twice a week, and you keep these in some sort of an organized place. So I'll show you what I do with mine. Right up here, I keep a small little notebook right here, and you can get one of these at TJ Maxx or Target or Walmart, and you can use an actual recipe notebook, which is what this is, or you can just get a plain old notebook and just print off your recipes that you like or write them down by hand and put them in here. But this one is fun because it comes with the recipe cards and you just write in your recipe, and I just write in pretty much the ingredients and then the bare bones directions in the back because I kind of already know what I'm supposed to do. But kind of just to give you an idea, this is a really, really good pancake recipe, by the way, if you need a good pancake recipe. So that just gives you some ideas, but basically I have a pretty small collection of recipes in here. This thing isn't massive, it's not huge, and it's definitely not full. There's tons of blank pages in here still. And I actually really like that because it's not overwhelming. You know, I'm not having to choose from 100 different recipes that I have pinned on Pinterest. I'm just flipping through my small little recipe notebook, and I have maybe 10 to 15 recipes that I make very often, I'm very comfortable with. So again, the tip is just to have a small collection of recipes that you use frequently, that you know how to make really well, that everyone in your family likes, and incorporate that into your cooking once to twice a week. In addition, of course, to having fun with trying new recipes, but be very picky about what recipes you put into a notebook like this. So become a connoisseur of recipes that your family absolutely loves and that are, of course, healthy. My third tip is, of course, to save your meal plans. Now, I've been using this recipe book since I got married in 2017. So the little envelope on the back says 2017. I just have never updated it. But I keep my meal plans, as you can see, they are written on front and back, and I keep these things as inspiration for later weeks. And sometimes I just pull out an old one and I just use that for the coming week. For example, it would be very easy just to pull out this meal plan right here and just use that for the week. Then there you go, you have your meal planning done for the week. You don't have to start from scratch every single time. And I can't find a nicely written example, and I don't want to show y'all my horrible handwriting, but what I do when I make my meal plans is I have my days of the week, as you saw, and then if I have some sort of event happening, some activity happening in the evening, or if it's a holiday, or if I know my husband's going to be working late or having a meeting, I go ahead and I write that in the meal plan right away before I even pick what we're going to be eating for that night. So that way I can plan an appropriate style meal. So for example, if I know my husband is going to be out later that night, I'm not going to slave over a really nice dinner when he's going to come home at 8 or 9 o'clock and just going to be reheating it out of the refrigerator. For a night like that, we'll have something super chill and super easy. So again, make sure you save your meal plans and go back through them several times, rotate through them, get inspiration from them, and in a week when you feel really stuck, don't make yourself work from scratch every single week. And then make sure you put activities that might be happening on those evenings so that you can plan an appropriate meal for that night. And even though this isn't an official tip, it's kind of an obvious one, but make sure you are going to bed every single night with your kitchen clean. Even if you have to stay up an extra 10 minutes, make sure that your sink is empty and your dishwasher is loaded and running. Because it's just so much nicer to come down in the morning to a clean kitchen. You'll feel so much more accomplished. It'll give you a great start to your day, and it will get you excited to cook that night's dinner. Tip number 4 is to make sure you have at least one leftover night every single week. And if you can squeeze it in, try to have 2. I absolutely love leftover nights, and it's just so nice to have a homemade, home-cooked meal that you can sit down to with your family and that you didn't have to do any prep for. You just had to pull it out of the refrigerator and let everyone dish up for themselves and heat it up. It is just so, so nice. It's almost like eating out. Don't feel like you have to cook from scratch every single night. Or another thing that you can do is to repurpose food. So one night if you had rice stir fry, for example, and you have a decent amount of leftovers, but not really enough to do that from scratch, take that rice and repurpose it in maybe a Mexican dish, or you can put that rice in soup. There's a lot of ways that you can repurpose your ingredients so you're not having to start from scratch every single time. And another meal that I like to incorporate once a week is breakfast or something similar, something super, super easy that you can throw together without even thinking about it, but we really enjoy doing breakfast. So I will usually do pancakes or French toast with some sort of breakfast meat, maybe a breakfast sausage or some bacon. And then of course you still want to throw some veggies in there, but it is just a really nice way, and it's kind of fun, especially for children. If they see syrup on the table, they're usually super excited. So I find it really helpful to have 1 or 2 nights a week where you have maybe a breakfast meal and then maybe a leftover meal. Tip number 5 is to cook once and eat twice. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, a lot of bloggers and people who make a lot of freezer meals, what they recommend is doing a ton of cooking on one day and just freezing for the whole week. They will just spend one whole day cooking enough food for breakfast, lunches, and dinners for the entire week, or even the entire month. Now, I think that that is awesome, but personally, I don't really love eating the exact same thing multiple times a week. I like to have a little bit more variety. So that's just not personally how I choose to do it. How I like to do it is to make double of whatever I'm making on any particular day. And then whatever I know that we're not going to want to eat in leftovers, and I'll portion out for the next day's lunches, or maybe the next 2 days of lunches. And then whatever we have left over, I will just go ahead and freeze. I'll show you an example right here. So this is chicken Parmesan that I made double and froze. So if y'all watched my Aldi haul video, you saw that I got that giant pack of chicken breasts. And what I decided to do with it was to make chicken Parmesan. And I put the recipe that I used in my Instagram, so make sure you go check that out. This was absolutely delicious. But you cut the chicken breasts in half to make chicken breast cutlets. And so that basically doubled the portions that I had. So I got 12 servings of chicken Parmesan out of that one night's worth of cooking. And we ate most of them, but I decided to go ahead and freeze 4. This will easily make one good dinner one night and leftovers for lunch for my husband. So I prefer to make double 1 to 2 nights a week and throw the leftovers in the freezer. And that's how I like to utilize my freezer. Instead of just doing a massive amount of cooking and meal prep all in one day and taking up your whole day to do that, it doesn't take any more time to cook double when you already are cooking, in my opinion. So that's what I like to do. So this is just an example, and this was again chicken Parmesan, and I will link my Instagram, which has the recipe written right down there. So really you can see it's about having forethought about what are the things that make meal planning difficult, what are the things that make cooking at home difficult, and doing everything you can to minimize those barriers and making cooking seem as appealing as possible. What tips and tricks do you guys have for helping you to get in the mood to cook at home? What things do you like to do to make it easier for yourself to cook at home, make it more convenient, make it more appealing? Let me know. I can always use more tips of how to cultivate an environment where I love to cook in my home, where my family loves to eat in my home. So please let me know and leave me a comment down below, as well as like this video and subscribe to my channel. I make videos like this twice a week about frugal living, healthy eating, and minimalist parenting. I'll see you guys here next week. Bye.